Show your love for that special little girl in your life by creating a matching outfit for her and her doll. Riley, along with her doll, look adorable in their outfits that were sewn with them in mind. The secret to sewing success lies in the use of specific presser feet. Intrigued? Let me show you how. Riley's such a cute model to showcase this little outfit. And one of the reasons I had a great time creating this is to use the specialty feet on my sewing machine to attach the ribbon, to create ruffles, tiered ruffles with ease, and to attach the ruffles and sew the seam at the same step. Those are the two techniques I'd like to share with you. I became familiar with this pattern and many other patterns found in a book called All Dolled Up by Joan Hines. I had the opportunity of working with Joan on a DVD that accompanies this book, and then there are patterns also included for little girls and their dolls. So great ways of sewing for the special little girls in your life. Now we're going to be working first of all with an open toe foot. There are many open toe feet on the market, and I happen to prefer, if possible, to work with a foot that's transparent, a clear foot. You can see what you're sewing with, perfect for trim. So I'm just going to snap this onto my machine and then work with the needle position and sew the trim on with the needle position at far left and far right. Now here's the trim, and I'm going to pin, quote unquote, the trim into place using a rather unconventional method. I do like to use a paper glue stick. I can't stress enough. Paper glue stick. It dries clear, dries fast, and the trim in the book will tell you should be 1 inch from the edge. So I just dab the ribbon, and let me remeasure this so that it's positioned straight. Get the trim down, the right position, and then position the ribbon just the way it should be. And now let me add the little pinning technique to this area. And learning this technique has saved me lots of frustration with pins. So I'm just going to get it measured exactly. That way, if you have a curved area or whatever, you get the trim positioned on, just waiting for it to be stitched. Now you'll see that as I lower the presser foot over the ribbon, I'm going to center it. I can see exactly where I'm stitching. And I have the needle position all the way over to the right. Now you would use matching thread, and I have contrasting thread so that you can see a little bit more readily, and then you just sew along the edge. I'm guiding the edge of the ribbon next to the edge of the foot, and it just works very smoothly. I think you get the idea. And then when you want to change to the other side, I'm going to raise the needle, and I'm just going to move the needle position all the way over to the other side. And of course, you're going to finish sewing both sides, but I'm just showing you the ease of which you can get everything centered and doing the guiding of the foot next to the edge of the fabric. So in this case, the ribbon. So it's just a really fast way that makes things very visible. After you have the ribbon attached, you can do some finishing touches, finish the bodice using traditional stitching techniques. And now I'd like to show you how to use the ruffling foot. We finished the top following the instructions in the All Dolled Up book. And now it's ready to attach the ruffles. Now cut the ruffle width just as given in the book, but don't make the length exactly the length given, because we're going to let the machine do the ruffling for us. So have some extra length to your strips. We have 2 strips sewn together, short ends, so that we are going to attach this to the top. Now to do this, we're working with the ruffling foot. And the ruffling foot, I must admit, is a little odd looking, but it's really quite unique in what it does. You're going to attach this to the machine by putting the C-clamp over the needle bar. A hint, just tighten that needle bar. Make sure that needle is in there securely, because it's going to be having the mechanism riding on that bar, which usually doesn't have that type of mechanism. In addition to this foot, you'll find that it has a lot of internal workings. We'll show you that in a minute. But the gauge is what I'd like to show you right now. At the very top of the foot, you'll see a 1, a 6, a 12, and then a star. You can move the stitch count into the 1, 6, or 12. And what this means is at 1, it will ruffle at every stitch. 6, it will ruffle at every 6th stitch, and 12, you got it, it will ruffle at every 12th stitch. For this top, we're going to ruffle at every 12th stitch. For the little girls, for the doll's top, we're going to ruffle about every 6 stitches. Now what this means is that we're going to sew the seam and attach the ruffle at the same time, which is such a time saver, and for even ruffling it's really superb. So I'm going to place my bodice underneath the presser foot area, and I'm going to place it around the side seam because we're not going to enclose the ruffle edges. We're going to do that after it's been attached. So here's the ruffle. At the side seam, I'm going to place this in the area, the open area, leaving about a 1/2 inch or 5/8 of an inch, whatever you'd like, open at the side. So we extend that beyond the needle. Now, truth be told, this takes about the longest of working with the ruffling, just to get that extra little 1/2 of an inch, but it's well worth it. So we have the fabric, the bodice underneath, the ruffling fabric in the middle, and let me see if I have it right, and yes I do, and there's a guide that will tuck the fabric and create the ruffle, and that's what you see in this area. It's going to tuck it in just a few stitches. Double check that your needle is in the center position because it only has one opening for the needle, and I'm going to hold the fabric, the lower fabric, just at a slight tension. Now you notice I raised my machine in the cabinet. I have my koala cabinet, and I raised the machine so that I can easily stitch around the edge. And as I stitch, every 12th stitch, if you want to count along, it will create a tuck as it is sewing the straight stitch. When attaching this, I like to sew at a moderate speed. Not having the pedal to the metal, but just having it sew at an average speed. And I really enjoy and like to see the way it just tucks the fabric and stitches the seam. So I'm going to continue to sew around the circumference of this bodice, and you'll see what I'll do next as I reach my starting point. I'm reaching my starting point, and you can see that here's my excess fabric from my beginning position, and here I'm overlaying the top fabric. So I want to stop just as I'm reaching my starting point. So as I'm getting fairly close, so I think I have another 12 stitches to stitch, another tuck, and then just cut your threads. And as I bring this up, have all the ruffle around the edge, cut the threads, you'll see that I have an opening where the ruffle for the seam. So I'm just going to then cut my fabric. So I'll just cut off the excess fabric, and then it'll be time to attach the other half of the ruffle. Stitch that ruffle to the top with the same technique. Then change to the standard presser foot and sew the side seam. I hope you've enjoyed learning how to use your presser feet to create an adorable outfit for your special little girl and her doll. To learn more about the products that I used in this video, along with my favorite sewing machines, please visit a participating Baby Lock retailer and ask them about the specials from this video. Tell them Nancy sent you.